Good evening, everyone. Do any of you have a teen driver in your family, or know somebody who does, or have been a teen driver yourself? Yeah. So you can empathize with me that it can be a little bit hair-raising and exasperating at times. My son just borrowed my keys, which is a keychain with like hundreds of keys on it. I'm not sure why he took those. But, that's why I'm late, so I apologize. But you know, when you have teenagers, I think it's important to look back and remember yourself at that age. At the same time, it doesn't make you worry less, at least when I remember myself that age in driving. As soon as I got my license, and I don't know what made my parents comfortable in letting me do this, but I took all kinds of road trips. At the time, I was into horseback riding, and the stable where I kept my horse, we went to horse shows pretty much every weekend, and in the summer sometimes we went to week-long horse shows or did circuits that took us away from home for the whole month. And I would drive my horse trainer's RV, like a 32-foot rig. I would pull horses in the trailer. And this one particular trip, we were going to Pebble Beach. My friend asked me to drive her brand new Toyota. She was going to bring her horses, and she wanted an extra car to ride around town, so I was really excited. I'd never gotten to drive a brand new car yet. I was having a great time driving, 80, 90 down the country road and changing the tapes in the tape deck. I was singing along to Bon Jovi, Shot with the Heart. And first important lesson I learned here is never take your eye off the road, because as I was changing the tape, I must have hit the gravel and my car spun out of control, or my friend's car spun out of control. And I was doing donuts from one side of the road to the other side of the road on this country road. Luckily it was abandoned, there were no cars, but I ended up in a ditch and couldn't pull forward, couldn't back out. So I turned off the car and I walked down the road, and there was this nice old farmer driving his tractor. I said, sir, can you help me? And he said, what's wrong, little lady? I said, I had a car accident, I'm in the ditch. So he got a chain and he pulled me out, didn't call the police, make a report, there wasn't a scratch on the car. And I just drove along my merry way, much slower, much more careful, and learned my lesson to keep my eyes on the road. Then I got into Pebble Beach at the stables, and we all put the horses in the stalls, bedded them down, wrapped their legs, fed them alfalfa hay, braided their manes and tails to get ready for the horse show the next day. And then we went back to a hotel that one of my friends had reserved for a group of us. And I didn't drive, I wasn't really paying attention to the route. And when we got there, we all discovered we were missing things. Somebody needed toothpaste, somebody needed dental floss, somebody needed candy. I know that seems contradictory, but I was nominated to go to the store. And I was like, well, how do I get there? And turn right, turn left, go down the hill. So it was light when I left, and I turned right, and I turned left, and I went down the hill and along a curvy road. I got to the supermarket, parked, and went in, got everything we needed, and checked it off on our list. Then I got out, and it was dark, and everything looked a lot different. So I'm like, okay, how did I get there? So I turned left, I turned right, I went up a hill, and I had no idea where my hotel was. I was completely turned around. Of course, no cell phones in those days, and I didn't even know the name of the hotel. Well, now whenever I stay at a hotel, I always get the business card, because this ended up being quite an experience. I just started driving around to Monterey, I went to Carmel, I was all over the place. I was stopping at every single hotel and asking them, are so-and-so staying here? Are so-and-so staying here? Well, finally, I ended up at a hotel that was like down the street from the Carmel police station. So the innkeeper said, oh, little lady, why don't you go down to the police station? If you've been driving around for hours, which I had been, well, then maybe your friends called in a report on you. So here comes my third lesson. When you're lost, you always have an opportunity to learn something unexpected. When you go on a trip and you have your itinerary planned out, it doesn't leave a lot of room for surprises. So this whole thing left a lot of room for surprises. And I ended up getting to job shadow that day with police and learned a lot about police work. They let me ride in the back of their car and took me around to all kinds of different places. Is this where you're staying? No. But then we got a call for a domestic disturbance, and we drove out, and they mediated that, and I got to see that. Then we got another call out to a Denny's. There was a fight. 2 people were arrested. I got to ride in the back of the car with them. So it's about 8 hours now. They're almost done with their shift, and they get word on the radio that my friends have reported me missing. And so we're like, hallelujah. We're good buddies by this time. So they drove me back to the police station to get my friend's car, and they actually escorted me back to the hotel because they didn't trust me to get back there on my own. And they walked me to my room, and my friends, it's over 30 years now, my friends gave me a very hard time. They could not believe my stupidity. But this was the 4th and final lesson I learned. Never put anything on top of your car. Because by the time I made it back to the hotel, I realized I did not have my purse anymore.
Oh,
So
no.
before my friendly police officers left me, they said, well, maybe somebody will turn it in. They did a couple days later, but not before hearing from my dad. And my parents were divorced. He lived in Bakersfield. My mom was on a cruise in Mexico. He didn't know that I was out of town, and so finding some information in my purse, somebody called him, and he thought that I had been abducted. And so he was calling around like crazy, and he finally found out where I was, and I got my purse back. So, when I think back on my own misadventures as a young person, it doesn't really make me feel any better about myself. Thank you.